Hey guys, Akimi Honda here with yet another Hitalia video.
Today we are going to be reading I totally fooled you. And this is not my story, so I am just reading it from a script on the internet. Speaking of how I'm talking, first of all, my accent may be a little grating to you who are not from the USA, so I apologize. Also, my accents for the video aren't going to be too good, so, because I can't completely do a Polish accent, and I can't do Germany. My Italy's pretty good, in my opinion, so I guess we'll get started with the prologue. Also, I have not read this yet, so I have no idea what it's about, and if you're reading it for the first time as well, by listening to me, then we're going to be on the same track. It was just another world meeting, which meant that it was pure chaos. It was loud, and everyone seemed to have something to say, or rather shout. Except for two nations that were occupying their own little silent corner. They were speaking in hushed tones, using a mixture of every Slavic and every Romance language that there was, and then further speaking in code words. These two nations were Italy and Poland, and if anyone had been paying attention, they would have realized that it was odd and suspicious. "It's almost time," Italy said. "Just a few more days until Judgment Day," Poland said. "Would the others know that the signal is?" "Of course, we've been planning this for centuries. They're ready." "And none of them would have second thoughts?" "They wouldn't be able to betray us if they wanted to." "Then it's it. In a few days we can finally be ourselves again." Checkmate.
Chapter 1. Poland smirked as he watched the planes fly overhead. They were making their way towards Berlin. Some of them were making their way to other cities, but the priority was the capital. It was unfortunate that Germany was in his capital, along with Prussia. That meant that two birds could be hit with one stone. He made his way towards Berlin as well, feeling the anticipation of sweet victory and the satisfaction of revenge. Called this justice. Germany sighed, looking up at his pacing brother. Both Germans couldn't deny that there was something seriously wrong. They had been feeling tense for a day or so, and they couldn't explain the feeling. They had checked in with their boss, and there was no sign of political problems. There was also nothing going on with the German people, and they had even checked in the state of affairs with their neighbors, and for an extra measure, they checked on the rest of Europe as well. There was nothing to indicate that there was something wrong. "I'll go check on Italy," Germany said. The Italian had arrived the previous day and had stayed the night. If Germany really thought about it, the feeling of unease had arrived with Italy, but there was no reason to suspect the Italian of anything. Sure enough, Italy was still fast asleep, sprawled out on his back. Germany briefly considered waking the Italian and yelling at him because of his laziness, but he knew that he couldn't do that without alerting the Italian of his unease. Then again, Italy could never read the atmosphere. Germany shook his head. It would of course be his luck that Italy would pick up on this, and then have a panicking Italian on his hands. He was already uneasy enough, and he didn't want to add to his stress. So he left the Italian and went back to his brother. Prussia briefly looked up before resuming his pacing. "I don't like this, West," Prussia said. "Something bad is going to happen, I can feel it." The fact that Prussia didn't use the word awesome or any of its variants was enough to tell the German that his brother was completely serious about this. That, of course, was all the more reason to be worried. Germany swallowed, and he noticed that there was a lump in his throat. He was also sweating nervously, and his hands were trembling slightly. "Whatever's happening," Germany said, "I can't help but feel that it was a long time coming." Before Prussia could say anything, Germany cried out in both shock and pain. He clutched his chest, and Prussia was at his side in an instant. "West, what's wrong?" Prussia asked. Germany didn't respond, just listened. Prussia seemed to realize it and tried to listen as well. Prussia gasped when he realized what was going on. Berlin was being bombed. "Come on," Prussia said. "Let's go to my room. The basement should be safer." Germany didn't protest as Prussia guided him towards the basement. He was in too much pain from his capital being bombed, without a single word of warning. When this was finished, he swore to find out who had done this and why. "Scheisse," Prussia swore.
Germany looked up to see Prussia struggling with the door of the basement. He swallowed nervously before he tried the door himself. Locked. "What the hell is going on?" Prussia asked. "Go check on Italy," Germany instructed. Prussia gave him an incredulous look before he went to do what he was told. Germany tried to force the door open, trying hard to ignore the pain in his chest. He heard the cocking of a gun and froze. He turned towards the direction, only to see... "Poland?" Germany asked incredulously. Poland had an easy smirk on his face, pointing the gun towards a German. For once, Poland's smirk wasn't cocky, but confident, as though he knew there was no way Germany would be able to fight him off. "That's me," Poland said. "You didn't see this coming, did you?" "What's the meaning of this?" Germany asked. "You see, I wanted to keep the tradition of having a world war start with a Germanic nation," Poland said. "It was either you or Austria. Congratulations, you won." "What are you talking about? You can't possibly be planning another world war. Don't let your bosses do that to you." Poland chuckled, and Germany felt goosebumps on his arms. The chuckle sounded cold. Not even Russia would be able to achieve that level of coldness. "My boss had nothing to do with this," Poland said. "You see, I haven't listened to a human in centuries. This is on me. This is who I really am. Fooled you, didn't I?" "What are you talking about?" Germany demanded. "Everything that happened in my country was all my doing. I was the one who gave humans the instructions. I told my bosses what to do. I never done something that I didn't want to do. Everything was a part of the master plan." "Then why wait so long?" "Simple. We watched and learned. Thanks for showing us what not to do in a world war, by the way." Before Germany could ask what he meant by we and us, Prussia returned. "West! Italy isn't... Poland?" Instead of breaking his gaze and pointing the gun towards the Prussian, Poland simply took out another gun and aimed it at Prussia's head, all without looking away from Germany. "Took you long enough to join us," Poland said. "Now I don't have to explain everything twice." "Why are you doing this?" Germany asked. "Because we want power," Poland said, shrugging. "It's as simple as that, but since we're nations and not humans, we've had longer to plan this out. Longer to gain allies. Longer to make sure those allies wouldn't betray us. Longer to learn from others' mistakes." "What the hell?" Prussia asked. "Where's Italy? What did you do to him?" Poland just smirked, and Germany could feel the rage grow. "What did you do to him?" Germany demanded. "If you hurt him..." "You're really worried about him, aren't you?" Poland asked, even though there was a smirk on his face. His voice sounded cold, with a hint of anger and disgust. "What is he to you?" Germany stilled, trying to explain how he saw the Italian.
Hey guys, me again. I think I'm gonna quit my Polish accent for this video. I can tell a lot of you Polish viewers are probably gonna be offended in some way. So, I'm just gonna stop it here. I'm gonna give him more of a slightly creepy voice instead of what I've been doing so far. Because I've been editing and recording at the same time, and even I couldn't understand what I was saying. So, let's get back into it.
"Germany?"
His eyes widened when he heard the familiar Italian voice, and he turned to see Italy standing to the side. Prussia also looked surprised to see the Italian. "Italian, get away," Germany said. "Poland's gone insane." "No, he hasn't," Italy said. "He's always been like this, and he isn't insane." Germany looked confused, and Italy opened his eyes. If Germany thought that Poland's voice was cold, then Italy's eyes were freezing, and then Poland's use of the pronouns us and we made sense. "You two were in this together?" Germany said. "See," Italy said, walking over towards Poland. "People tend to forget that I'm the grandson of Rome, the greatest of the ancients. To them, I'm nothing but weak, cowardly, stupid little Italy." Italy walked up behind Poland and draped his arms around his neck. Poland didn't budge from his stance while holding the weapons towards the Germans. "So tell me," Italy said. "I'm curious. What am I to you?" Germany didn't answer, though he noticed that Poland seemed to look a little annoyed. Italy followed his gaze and chuckled. "Oh, are you jealous?" Italy asked. "Mio amore, you know that it was all part of the plan."
Italy cupped Poland's cheek and guided him to look at him. Their lips made contact, and the two made sure to look at Germany straight in the eye. Poland broke the kiss and looked straight at Germany again. "I know that it was a part of the plan," Poland said, "but do you have any idea how much it annoyed me that you would greet him with hugs and kisses? To hear that you even slept in the same bed?" "Now you know how I felt with you in Lithuania," Italy said, pecking the Pole on the cheek. "What are you going to do now?" Germany asked. "Well, you're going to take part in this little process called partitioning," Poland said. "Sound familiar?" "Like hell we'd better allow you to do that," Prussia spat. "How far we're still able to fight." Poland rolled his eyes, and he adjusted his aim faster than Germany thought possible. There was a single bang, followed by 2 cries of pain. Somehow Poland had managed to shoot both Germans in the side, successfully missing anything vital. But it had achieved the purpose of incapacitating the two. For the moment, at least. Germany placed his hands on the wound in order to staunch the bleeding and glared at the two. "So, you think the two of you are able to fight?" Poland asked. "Think carefully, because next time I'm aiming for something more vital. You try to determine what kind of vital that is." "So you're intending to divide my land between the two of you?" Germany spat. "You're foolish if you think you can just do that." "Your land isn't going to be divided between the two of us," Italy said. "Sure, Felix will be taking some, but there are 2 of our allies that want to have some of your land as well." "You mentioned something about allies before," Germany said. "Who are they?" "Think carefully," Italy said. "Which other nation in Europe has Italian as the official language?" Germany's first thought was Romano, of course, but something about the way that Italy phrased the question made him think that it wasn't him. There's a chance that he was involved, but he wasn't applicable to the situation. He thought harder, and he realized he heard a conversation in Italian between Italy and... "Please," Germany groaned, "don't tell me that it's Switzerland." "Bravo," Italy said. "What?" Prussia said. "But he's neutral." "I was on their side longer." The 2 Germans froze when they heard the voice, and turned to see that 2 other nations had arrived, Liechtenstein and Switzerland, and both of them were staring at them coldly. Even Liechtenstein looked as though she could kill them with an instant without flinching. Both of them had guns in their hands. "So, this was all a part of your little plan?" Prussia said, looking towards Switzerland. "Who else? France? Spain?" "Hell no," Italy said. "They were adopted by Rome, and while I might have called them fratello, they mean nothing to us. The only thing they were useful for is giving us access to the Americas." "Who do you have there?" Germany demanded. "That's our little secret," Italy said. "We don't have that idiota, though. He would have let things slip through the moment he could. Then there's the fact that he had this ridiculous hero complex, and we didn't want to upset one of our most valuable allies by letting him join us." "So, it's someone that doesn't like America?" Prussia asked. "I'm going to take a guess and say that it's Mexico?" "We're working on that," Poland said. "Mexico didn't like Romano, so he couldn't recruit her." "It wasn't Romano that she didn't like," Italy said. "It was more Spain's affection towards him. I'm sure that if we had someone else go talk to her, then she'll be willing to listen." "Did you tell them?" Switzerland asked. "See, he's on his way to Mexico as we speak." "Who the hell are you talking about?" Germany asked. "It's nothing that you need to worry about," Poland said. "For now, you're gonna come with us, and you'll be our little prisoners." "Like hell!" Prussia yelled. "I'd shut up if I were you," Poland said. "Remember that you're not a nation anymore. 1 bullet to your head and you'll drop dead. The only reason I haven't shot you yet is because you're going to help us get France, Austria, and Hungary. But if either you or Germany give us grief, we won't hesitate to bury a bullet in your brain." Germany's eyes widened at those words. That explained why Poland kept a gun aimed towards Prussia's head. Germany could be kept alive, at least until they've succeeded in their plans and stripped them from his lands. "You're bluffing," Prussia said. "I'm too awesome to be killed like that." Germany could hear the doubt in the Prussian's voice, and apparently, so could the others. "Funny," Poland said. "Didn't Holstein say something similar to that?"
Germany's eyes widened, and he looked over towards Prussia, who seemed to have frozen in fear. "Was?" he whispered.
You must have noticed that he disappeared before the rest of your brothers,
Italy said.
We had to check on the mortality of an ex-nation. We also tested others' nation mortalities. We know how to kill nations, even without their lands being completely gone. Right now, your survival depends on how obedient you are, and whether or not your people will pose a problem.
You're bluffing, Germany whispered. No, we're serious, Switzerland said. We can kill you in an instant, and you won't be able to come back. But we'd rather not. Messy business, you see. Germany looked between the four nations, and he realized that they were quite serious. They had planned this for a long time, and now that they had revealed their plans, they wouldn't back down. And he knew that they wouldn't hesitate in killing either him or Prussia, and their cooperation determined whether or not they lived or died. Germany looked over towards Prussia, and he saw the fear in those red eyes. He knew that Prussia had been worried about his mortality for a while, and with enemies that knew all about it, things did not look good for him. Germany closed his eyes before he relaxed his posture. He still pressed against the bleeding wound, though, but he made sure that his posture told them that he wouldn't put up a fight. All right, Germany said. As long as you don't harm my brother, I have no reason to fight you. Was? Prussia demanded. East, you can't deny that they have the upper hand here, Germany said. I don't want to see you get hurt.
Smart choice, Poland said. Don't worry. For being cooperative, we'll make your partitions as painless as possible.
Is that really necessary? Germany asked.
See, Italy said. We're not going to explain ourselves now, but everything would make sense in the end.
I just want to know something, Germany said. Was everything a lie? Italy looked thoughtful for a moment.
See, Italy said. Everything was a lie.
Even your love of pasta?
Alright, I admit I may have exaggerated that one. It wasn't a complete lie.
So your incompetence, your cowardice, it was all a lie? Oh, for crying out loud, Switzerland said. Yes, everything was a lie. Everything you know about us is a lie. We've been planning this for centuries. Everything that has ever happened in our countries was carefully planned.
Except for natural disasters,
Liechtenstein admitted. Right, except for that. Well, sometimes. Let's get a move on already, Poland said.
We still need to alert Vatican that he will be getting guests.
Wait, Prussia said. He's involved?
Of course, Italy said. He's a descendant of Rome too, after all.
Switzerland approached Prussia and forced his arms behind his back before cuffing them. Switzerland then moved on towards Germany, who reluctantly put his arms behind his back. What about these wounds? Germany asked. You won't bleed out, Switzerland said. These bullets are designed to staunch the bleeding after a while. These were designed to wound, not kill. How did you? Interesting fact. Poland is very good with chemistry, and he didn't share anything he discovered with anyone outside of our group. Germany looked over towards where Poland and Italy had been, only to find them both gone. Come on, Switzerland said. The sooner we get to the Vatican, the better. What makes you think that you will be able to get away with this? Germany asked. You know how the other world wars turned out. Yes, but we did something that you didn't. Research. We know everything about every nation. We know their tactics. We know what type of weapons they use, and we know their weaknesses. I can't wait until you have to take on Russia or America. You see, we've made arrangements for both of them. We have 3 nations on our side that Russia is afraid of. We also have someone that on multiple occasions have made America cry. We know who each nation considers their weaknesses and why. For some, it's fear. For others... He looked over towards Liechtenstein and Prussia, and Germany followed his gaze. It's compassion. San Marino hung up the phone, smirking. Veneziano had just informed him that Germany was now part of their territory, and many of the others had called to ask whether or not Judgment Day had finally arrived. Announcing it with a bang was certainly one way to go about it. Most nations in the world would be confused, but some knew exactly what was going on. San Marino picked up the phone once again. He would need to relay the news to Vatican that the 2 prisoners would be arriving shortly. He was the messenger, and he was the one that knew what every other nation in the world was up to. He idly stroked the button he wore on his chest. It was gold and depicted a wolf and eagle back to back. This was their symbol. This was the mark of a new world order.
Romano snapped the phone shut, finishing his packing.
He had seen on the news that Germany had been bombed by unknown attackers. What the humans had been able to figure out was that it wasn't the work of terrorists, but an army. He knew that the rest of the world would be worried, and he had in fact received a call from Spain, the other inviting him over for his own safety. He knew his orders and smirked. It wasn't his safety that the Spaniard had to worry about. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I don't think I'm going to be able to finish this since it is like 156 chapters long, and each chapter is going to take me like 20 minutes to read. So if you want to finish reading it, please look at the link in the description. I've put it there. Also, please read the description to find some information I just needed to jot down. Other than that, thanks for watching. See you later.